Catholic schoolgirls deserve to be
Here is scarce today, or the
tough deep
negative
inside
one,
of the Catholic schoolgirl.
and
Wait a minute. Oh wait, I can't say that.
and we're
You should have known
playing
I was
out
gonna
the
say something like
2020
that,
season.
Captain.
If it ended, how it ended with all the sports is coming to a halt, and if we do pick up and we start the playoffs would look like this. On the West Coast, or Western Conference actually, we would have the reigning Stanley Cup champion St. Louis Blues against the Winnipeg Jets. We have the Colorado Avalanche against my Dallas Stars. Las Vegas Golden Knights versus Nashville Predators, and then the Battle of Alberta. Battle of Alberta. Edmonton versus Calgary. And on the Eastern Coast, it's gonna be part of one of the toughest Eastern conferences I've ever seen. We have Boston versus Carolina. We have Tampa Bay against Toronto. It's going to be an amazing series. I don't care because Toronto's not playing Boston. And then we have Washington versus Columbus, and then Philly versus Pittsburgh. And Scarce, I know you're not a sports person, but
I like football. That's like the only sport
well, you like college football.
Good at college football.
Yeah, let's get that straight. But this is
All that matters.
this is probably one of the best brackets, viewing wise. It's probably going to be one of the best in NHL history if this ever resumes. But
go balls deep.
oh my god. Anyways, we're gonna start the playoffs. That's a 7, continuous 7. Continuous overtime actually. If the game is tied, usual rules. And we're gonna start off with St. Louis versus Winnipeg right now for game number 1. And game number 1 is gonna go to St. Louis. As you can see, Blake Wheeler had a goal and 2 assists for 3 points as St. Louis leads the series 1-0. Nashville versus Las Vegas, game 1. I believe that's in Las Vegas, and Vegas wins on home territory. Carolina versus Boston on the eastern side, and Carolina is going to take game 1 away from Boston, who's having a really, really good season this year. Columbus versus Washington, I believe that's going to be, oh, never mind, I thought it was going to be sweet, but Columbus comes out firing. It's 1-0 Columbus. And what is Washington gonna go back to their old self in the playoffs where they do such a fantastic seasons in the regular season and then just crumble in the playoffs? Alright, Dallas versus Colorado, game 1. Dallas takes it away. Home
What kind of
advantage.
2-year-old bullshit is this? I put a block on top of a block and it's just glitching out and making a bunch of noise.
I know you're not playing Minecraft. Battle of Alberta, game 1. Here we go. It's gonna be my favorite series actually. And Edmonton takes game 1 over Calgary. Toronto and Tampa Bay. This is gonna go to game 7. I just feel it as Tampa wins 1-0. And then, two struggling teams that, they're making the playoffs. Philly and Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's gonna take game 1. Game 2 for Winnipeg and St. Louis. And St. Louis wins game 2 as Blake Wheeler still continues to be the team leader in points throughout the playoffs. He just added a goal. Nashville and Las Vegas, game 2, and Nashville ties it up as they go home back to Smashville. Carolina versus Boston. Boston evens it up as Sebastian Aho has 5 assists in 2 games. Wow. Columbus versus Washington. Columbus 2-0. My goodness, what is going on with the Capitals? They dropped 2 at home. When they won the Stanley Cup playoffs, and they actually fell 2-0 to Columbus. So maybe they'll come back just like they did in real life. Dallas, Colorado. Colorado evens it up as they go back to Dallas. Calgary and Edmonton. Edmonton takes care of Calgary once again, 2-0. Edmonton in that series. Tampa Bay goes 2-0 as they go back to Toronto. Philly and Pittsburgh ties it up, Philly. And we're going to go to Game 3 for St. Louis and Winnipeg. Game 3 goes to St. Louis right there. In Smashville, it's Nashville versus Las Vegas. And Nashville wins as... Ooh, goal line.
Gosh,
7-6, wow. Boston and Carolina. Boston wins Game 3, Washington and Columbus. So Washington comes back from Columbus. As it's 1-2 now. Dallas and Colorado. Dallas wins on home ice. Game 3. Game 3 for Edmonton and Calgary. And Calgary gets their first win of Stanley Cup playoffs. Tampa Bay and Toronto. Game 3. Tampa Bay is one game away from swinging for Toronto. Wow. I really don't think that's going to happen. Philly and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to win Game 3. And we're going to go to Game 4 and go around the horn. And St. Louis sweeps Winnipeg. Winnipeg is out of the playoffs. Wow. I think...
So what's the reason you're doing this again?
You know, just... I miss sports.
Oh yeah, because you got like canceled because of the dumbass virus.
Yeah. I really miss sports. Nashville takes a 3-1 series lead against Las Vegas. That's actually shocking, but maybe that group has came together and hopefully they can go to the second round. Boston and Carolina. Boston goes up 3-1. Columbus versus Washington. Let's see if they can tie it up. They do. They tie it up. No home ice advantage for either side as it goes back to Washington for Game 5, all tied up. Dallas and Colorado. Dallas takes a 3-1 series lead going back to Colorado to end it. Edmonton and Calgary. They even series up. It's 2-2 apiece. Now can Toronto starve off elimination? No, they cannot. Steven Stamkos with 2 goals, 5 assists with 7 points. I'm pretty sure that's like a 3-way tie with like 2 or 3 others. And the Toronto Maple Leafs once again are eliminated in the first round. Philly and Pittsburgh. Philly ties it up at 2 as they go back to Pittsburgh. No, they go back to Philly actually. Philly is actually in second place as we speak right now. Alright, can Nashville eliminate the Vegas Golden Knights? Yes, they can. Wow. Las Vegas crumbles in the playoffs once again, and they lose to the Predators in Game 5. Carolina and Boston. Nope, Boston cannot close out the series, and they're going to go to Game 6 out in Carolina. Columbus and Washington. And yeah, I feel like that's going to happen right there. 3-2. Caps take the series lead heading back to Columbus. Now can Dallas eliminate Colorado? Because I've seen a lot of videos of NHL analysts just picking Colorado. It makes me upset. I know the Stars, they're having an on and off season, but if you have that type of veteranship in that lineup with some of those young guys that have been stepping up for the Stars, that can really be success in the playoffs. And Game 6 is gonna be in Dallas as Colorado fights for another day. Battle of Alberta tied at 2. Here we go. Who's gonna win? Edmonton wins 3-2 as they go back to Calgary. Pittsburgh and Philly tied at 2. Pittsburgh wins Game 5, heading to 6 back to Pittsburgh. And Boston, Carolina. Boston wins that series 4-2. Carolina's run, like they did last year against Boston in Eastern Conference Finals, ends in Game 6. Now, this Washington-Columbus series is just like when, I think 2017, 2018, whenever Washington won their Stanley Cup. Let's see if Washington can close it out. And they do. They close it out against Columbus. They win 4-2. They're heading on to the second round. Now Colorado and Dallas. They're Game 6 in Dallas. Dallas wins. Colorado has been eliminated from the playoffs. And here we go with Edmonton and Calgary. And Calgary's going to force a Game 7. Wow. And Philly Oh wow, Philly goes for a game 7. We got Battle of Alberta and Battle of the Pennsylvanias right here. Battle of Alberta. Calgary comes back from 3-2 down and takes the series. And for the Phillies, oh my god, the Flyers take out Sid. Wow. So Pittsburgh and Carolina will not happen. We're gonna have Boston versus Tampa Bay. As you can recall, before the season ended, I think a week before, a couple days before, we had that big line brawl against Boston and Tampa Bay. That was probably one of the more entertaining games of the season. But oh my, we're gonna have the Dallas Stars versus the St. Louis Blues in the second round once again. Let's see if things are different this time. And St. Louis takes game 1. We're gonna have Nashville and Calgary in the second round. It's gonna be in Calgary, I believe. And Nashville takes game 1 away from Calgary. Now, Tampa Bay versus Boston. Tampa Bay takes game 1. Now it's gonna be Philly versus Washington. It's not gonna be no Pittsburgh. It's not gonna be Ovechkin versus Crosby. It's gonna be Giroud versus Ovechkin. And Giroud gets the first laugh as Philly takes game 1. Dallas Stars and St. Louis Blues game 2. Dallas takes that one. It's 1-1 series. Nashville and Calgary game 2. And they tie it up at 1. Boston and Tampa Bay. They tie it up at 1. Philly and Washington. Philly takes game 2 and it's 2-0 series lead. You see Brad Marchand, is in the lead. 12 points, 4 goals, 8 assists for the Boston Bruins. Game 3 for St. Louis. They only dropped 1 game in this playoff so far. And they just dropped 2 as the Dallas Stars take game 3 at home ice. Calgary and Nashville for game 3. Almost simulated it. Whoops. Calgary takes game 3. Boston versus Tampa Bay. Boston takes game 3. They lead 2-1. Washington and Philly. Philly is 3-0 and they are 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't know if I can find that hard to believe or whatnot, but anything can happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Anything. Game 4, Dallas and St. Louis. St. Louis ties it up at 2. Calgary versus Nashville. Calgary takes a 3-1 series lead. Can we see a Canada team back in the Stanley Cup Finals for the first time since I think 07, 08? I think it was Ottawa? Ottawa or Edmonton, one of those two. I know it was one of those two. I think Tampa Bay tied it up at 2, game 4. Now can Philly sweep Washington? Nope. Washington starves off elimination. Forces a game 5. Dallas and St. Louis, game 5. Dallas takes a 3-2 series lead. Who takes the 3-2 series? Oh wait, Calgary. Sorry, 3-2 series lead, like I said. Predicted that, don't worry. Calgary loses to Nashville. Who's gonna take a 3-2 series lead for this? Tampa Bay takes a 3-2. David Pastrnak, 12 assists and 4 goals. Wow.
Slow, deep, and hard.
Oh my god. Washington versus Philly. Philly going to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that's the first time since them losing the Stanley Cup in 2010 against Chicago. So they're back in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 10 years. Dallas and St. Louis. Game 6. As Boat joins the party. Boat, we are streaming NHL 20. You're missing a lot. You missed the whole first round and half the second round. Calgary and Nashville.
Going in slow, deep, and hard.
Oh my god. Nashville. 2 game 7s in the Western Conference. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm trying to record here. You know what you're saying. Slow,
spread your pussy wide open.
Game 7, just like last year. Dallas and St. Louis. Dallas takes game 7 this time. Oh.
Spread your pussy wide open.
Game 5. Nashville. Nashville Oh, Nashville came back from 3-1 series down, and Nashville's going to the Western Conference Finals for like the first time since 2017. Yeah, 2017. I can't. This is live stream. So once I'm done live streaming, it's gonna go straight to the terminal. I'm too late.
Spread your legs, you Catholic whore.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! What did I say, Scarce? Scarce, what did I say? Scarce, what did I say?
I didn't mean to say that. I don't know.
I'm on YouTube. I'm too lazy to edit.
Oh, you're gonna get banned.
No, I'm gonna get banned. I'm not even gonna upload my first freaking thing. It's too late. Well, Battle of Winter Classic this year in Dallas
Battle
is gonna
of the
take that one.
One is
Philly
Catholic,
versus
the other one's
Boston.
Jewish.
Philly's gonna take this one. We're going to game 2 up in Dallas. Dallas is gonna take that 2-0. It's gonna be 1-1 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Two whores battling.
Oh my god, please shut up! Dallas takes a 3-0 series lead against Nashville. It's 2-1 against Boston and
One of
Philly.
them grabs
And
the fattest cock.
oh my god. I'm gonna lose my YouTube channel.
And the other one grabs the second. Spread your legs, you.
Oh my. Stop, Scares. Oh, Boston
I wanna
and Philly game 4. Philly's gonna win.
Inside.
3-1 series. Dallas is going to win the Western Conference Finals. As you know, they won last year in the Sim, and they lost against Pittsburgh in the Stanley Cup Finals, if I recall, and they lost Game 7 double OT to the St. Louis Blues. So we're gonna have Philly and Boston for Game 5, and Philly's gonna win it. It's gonna be the Dallas Stars versus the Flyers in the Stanley Cup Finals. David Pastrnak is still in leader. And is still the points leader with 4 goals, 21 assists for 25 points. Now, here comes the fun part, especially. Dallas wins game 1. Dallas wins game 2. Dallas wins game 3. Tyler Seguin's now the team leader. It's 14 goals with 12 assists with 26 points. Can Dallas sweep Philly? Yes, they can. The Dallas Stars are the Stanley Cup champions of the 2020. Yeah, the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars win. This has been a crazy video towards the end because Boat came.
Porn stars.
Oh
Catholic
my!
porn
I'm just
stars.
gonna end this. Good night.
Nah,